We have officially reached the 4th week and the final week of the Breakthrough course. Listen, I hope you're so proud of getting to this point. I hope you feel amazing because of the work that you've put in. I hope you feel proud of showing up for yourself. I hope that you come back to whatever part of this course really helped you, fed you. I hope it nurtured you and nourished you. And I want you to know that it's always here. And if you've yet to start the Breakthrough course, it will always be in the Chani app, and it will always be free, and it will always be open and accessible to you or anybody that you want to share it with. So the breakthroughs never stop. Hopefully, growth never stops. Hopefully, and this course will always be here for you in part or in whole to support you in whatever way it can. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I want to thank you so much for trusting me and also for experimenting with me. This was a big experiment for me, and I think that that is part of the process, right? We got to see what works, see what doesn't, try things out, take what you like, leave what you don't, keep it moving. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being part of this and everything here at the Chani app. I just want to start off this week's recording by saying yes. If you feel massive, big, huge cathartic emotions, maybe not cathartic quite yet. Yes, if things feel extra intense right now. Yes, if things feel really loud right now. Like if your usually hidden feelings are rearing their head in a way that seems egregious and possibly even rude. If you feel trolled by your own emo-ness at this moment, yes. There's a full moon in Scorpio on Monday, the 12th of May. And it's not just a full moon in Scorpio, which is always going to be intense. It's a full moon in Scorpio that has this extra component that is so in your face. Hello and welcome. This is the Astrology of the Week Ahead podcast. I'm your host. I'm your astro bestie. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. Also, I'm Chani Nicholas. Listen, a full moon in Scorpio is always going to be a lot. She's a big deal. She happens usually about once a year, maybe twice if we're lucky, unlucky. But this is our annual full moon in Scorpio. It's just not any old regular full moon in Scorpio, though. And this is why. Okay, so the full moon happens on the 12th. So as you're listening to this, even if you're listening to this on Sunday or hours before, the full moon happens, we're already leading into it. So by the time you're hearing this, and if you didn't hear last week's podcast, I'm sorry for you. This might be catching you off guard. But you might just be like, why does this feel so icky and sticky or murky or just challenging? Like on the way to the full moon, things might feel like they get stuck in our throat. Things might feel like they are getting clogged up in the system. So we want to think about what we can do to emotionally purge, to emotionally compost, to be in the process of churning and turning it over and decomposing and deconstructing what it is that's coming up for us. And maybe it's more of a collective situation, not that that's better or worse or whatever, but maybe it's also a very personal one. And of course, the two are always linked, but mostly I feel like these full moons land in a way that seems horrible to us or kind of like in the realm of horror. Whatever seems like a horror to us personally, that's what the full moon in Scorpio will present, or anything that is major that happens in Scorpio, because it will reveal to us what we're afraid to look at, what we're afraid to feel, what we're afraid to process. That's part of Scorpio's magic. It gives us what we are resisting, and it usually pulls the poisons to the surface. Scorpio has this way of being like, oh, is that what it is that you think is scary? Great, let's put it on full display. And this one is louder than most. This Scorpio full moon, this full moon in Scorpio, however you want to say it, is louder than most. And this is why. It is sitting in an opposition to Uranus. Again, however you want to say it. And on Saturday, the 17th, the Sun and Uranus come together to make what we call a cazimi, which is a very important day in the year where things get really loud. So on Monday, the 12th, as the Sun and the Moon are in opposing signs, Uranus, the planet of disruption and being chaotic and being like, oh, you didn't think that this would happen, but here we are. The Sun and Uranus are very close, meaning Uranus and the Moon are in a very close opposition. And on the way out of being full, the Moon does oppose Uranus. And so it's baked into Monday's astrology. And because Uranus is loud, and because Scorpio is secretive and wants to be covert and undercover, what happens when something that is supposed to be kept under wraps gets too loud? Well, the secrets are revealed. The thing that wasn't supposed to come out into daylight comes out into daylight. The ghosts, come out of the closets and start haunting us. And again, this could be something that's societally, communally, collectively, on the world stage is happening, like the secrets come out because something has been disturbed or something has been cracked open just enough. Something has been given the freedom to come to conscious awareness. Remember, it's a full moon, so it's casting its light, its brightness upon something that is usually kept in the shadows. And then the Uranus cazimi, the opposition to Uranus, the whole week of astrology, is like, oh, well, this is the secret. This is what we want to suppress, or this is what we want to keep hidden. And maybe for very good reason. But I'm sorry, there's something that's too alarming. It's like something gets tripped, the alarm gets tripped, something gets stirred up this week. Maybe it's on Monday. Maybe we wait until Saturday, but there's something here that just makes the secrets or what has been kept in the kind of like unconscious or what has been kept just below the surface. Something happens here that like kicks it into high gear and gets it going and gets it to come up to conscious awareness, or gets the thing that's usually quiet or what we want to keep quiet, that gets loud. It's kind of like a hot mic, It's like, I don't know that people are listening to me, but I'm saying all this stuff that nobody should know or should not be put out into broad daylight. But here I am, I'm wired, I'm live, and everybody's listening to me and everyone can hear me. And this is my deep, dark secret. And all of a sudden it's broadcast. And I do include that because it's weird on the same, and I don't usually say weird when I talk about astrology because everything's just what it is. But on Monday, while the full moon is happening, Mercury, planet of communication, makes a square to Pluto, the planet that deals with subterranean themes. And so Mercury's like, oh, this is a secret, or this is what's kept under wraps, or this is what isn't supposed to be talked about up here. But I'm going to put a megaphone to it, and I'm going to reveal something. And then on Saturday, when Uranus and the Sun come together to form that really loud cazimi that brings something that's innovative and startling and upsetting and turbulent and loud, like to a precision, to a precise moment, Mercury, again, the microphone, is then interviewing Mars. And Mars will always go rogue. Mars will always do its own thing. Mars will always be like, oh, let's go disturb the peace over here. Mars is also a planet that is quite loud, if you will. Again, depending on what sign it's in, but it's something that cuts, or it's a planet that talks about cutting through whatever the boundaries are, or whatever I'm supposed to do. I don't really care. I'm going to go do my own thing. And so there's this unconventionality about Saturday. There's something that is, again, disruptive, that is cutting, that is piercing, that is able to get to the point. And the collection of the astrology, and that is really the basis of the astrology. There's one other thing that happens on Sunday, but because we are just hanging out with this Scorpio full moon vibe and this Uranus cazimi moment, it does feel like this collection of astrological pinpoints that are causing a little bit to a lot of a bit of chaos. This is, especially by the time we get to Saturday, chaotic astrology. And that can be chaos for good. It can be a disruption for good. Like, what is outdated? What needs a systems reboot? What needs a 2 point, 3 point, 10.0? What do we need to say, like, no more with that? We're moving in a different direction. Because the 12th, Monday, the 12th of May, is a full moon. So it's bringing something to fullness or something to completion. But Saturday the 17th is a new beginning. It's more like a new moon. It's when two planets meet up, like the sun and the moon do. It's the sun and Uranus. They're meeting up, and it is seeding moments of rebellion, and it is seeding acts of resistance, possibly, and it is seeding acts of brilliance as well. It's like, why do we keep thinking that we have to recreate the same thing that keeps harming us or keeps not working or keeps being so incredibly inefficient? Let's do something different. Let's keep what works from the old system, update it, renew, and move on. Like, what do we need to break up with? I am done with this thing. Uranus is always breakup energy. It's breakthrough energy. Have you tried the breakthrough course yet? In the Chani app, I would try it. Highly recommend it. This Saturday is probably an excellent time to start. I would give you my astrological, yes, it's a very good seed mark of the breakthrough that you want to have. And the breakthrough course can help you have that. But it's also like, what are we breaking up with and what are we getting free of? Uranus is about freedom. It's loud. It is disruptive. It is not stable. It does not help us feel good because everything is like same, cool, fine. It's good. The economy's level. Stock markets are chill. I don't expect the stock markets or the economy to be chill when this is happening because it's happening in Taurus, which is a sign associated to resources. So there's that whole piece of it. But okay, fine. What is unreliable anyways? Like capitalism, totally unreliable. System made to end up in this situation, made to get us here. So what do we need to say? This needs to be reinvented anyways. Let us break up with the old thing. We can't have a breakthrough. We can't have a new beginning unless we are so willing to acknowledge what isn't working. We cannot remain sentimental. We cannot remain attached to the past when it keeps us in a cycle of harm. Or we can, but we have to know that we're going to keep getting hurt. If we stay in that cycle, if we stay in those systems, if we stay in those relationships and expect something different, but we change nothing, we are never going to have a different experience. So the full moon brings this big feeling on Monday. This full moon is like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated, or I'm so enraged, or I'm so in love, or I'm so like deeply in this emotion. I'm deeply in this experience. This intensity is so real. And then by Saturday, we're like, you know what? I need to look at this differently. I'm ready to have a breakthrough around this. I do not have to keep staying in the same old emotionally abusive cycle, or fill in the blank, whatever your thing is, right? Like whether it's you that, is hard on yourself or mean to yourself, or you let other people and your relationship dynamics, whatever way you would describe that. What do you need to break up with? Who do you need to break up with? What systems do we need to break up with? What ways of doing things do we need to break up with? What are we needing to say, like, okay, I'm willing to try this a different way because I keep doing this one thing and I keep getting the same results and I keep being unhappy. I want to be happy. I can be happy. We could be happy. We could live in a different way. We could. This whole thing that we've constructed is one little choice after another after another. This week says, let's change something to change something. Things don't change if everything stays the same. So feel it, heal it, to move through it, to change it. That's one of the themes of this week. I think that's the main theme of this week. And then there's some really challenging conversations. I don't know how else to say it. maybe it's not personal for you. You might not be having the challenging conversation, but there's some kind of like unearthing that happens on Monday. There's some kind of like friction that occurs on Saturday, maybe a fight, maybe an argument, maybe something that's like, oh, that was heated, but also important. It's okay to have heated conversations and exchanges if we are getting somewhere ultimately in the process. And then on the 18th, Jupiter at the end, nearing its end of its trip through Gemini, it makes a square to the nodes. And so this does amplify something possibly about education, about law, and about our belief systems. One of the things about Jupiter being in Gemini that I harped on and on and on and on and on about last year, because Jupiter has been in Gemini for about a year, is that there would be a loss of faith. Jupiter is in its exile or its detriment when it's in Gemini. So we struggle with Jupiterian things. We struggle with growth. Hey, recession. We struggle with hope. We struggle with faith. We struggle in having something to believe in. And, that's an important process. That's an important part of being human. It's not bad to struggle with faith and hope and all of those things. But Jupiter in Gemini signals a time where that lessens, and that can definitely wane. And so I'm recording this in April. I'm not too far in the past, but I don't know what's happening in May. But it does seem like something, because Jupiter rules courts and higher education and teachers and like ultimate wisdom traditions, or the things that we agree on, or what it is we collectively say, like, yes, that's moral. That's that's what we hold to be true. And because Jupiter is in the sign that it struggles in, one of the signs it struggles in, about to enter one of the signs it absolutely thrives in. So we are about to go through a major change, and a lot of good news is coming. I promise you. There will be something that will be like a flotation device for us, a nourishing, nurturing something that comes in, that we channel. We have to do the work. So anyways, we'll talk more about that soon. But as Jupiter ends its time in Gemini, what it does is it squares the nodes, which amplifies everything that Jupiter in Gemini has been about, or that Jupiter is about. So I do think that there's something here about educational institutions, law, courts, Supreme Courts, etc., and also our relationship to faith. And because the nodes amplify things and they give us moments of like, oh, this is an important turning of a corner, or an important event for us to pay attention to, because it's connected to eclipses in some way, shape, or form, connected to something that can be life altering and, like a catapulting, that there's something here at the end of the week about our own personal relationship to how to cultivate faith, how to cultivate hope, how to stand up for educational institutions, museums, courts of law, anything that has to do with that. So I'll be interested to see what kind of conversations that we are collectively having in that genre at the end of the week. All right, now we're going to move into our Ask Me Anything section of the podcast. I love when you write in with your questions. Please keep them coming. It's really helpful to know what doesn't land, what doesn't make sense. Over the years, I feel like I've answered a bajillion questions, but it was over there, over here, and you didn't hear it. And there's still these questions that come through that I'm like, oh, okay, this still isn't making sense to people. So then as a company, as an app, as different podcasts that we produce, we can try to cultivate a body of knowledge and a body of answers for you. So let us know what isn't making sense. Okay, this week's question is about sun sign versus rising sign. So part of the whole thing about why I started writing horoscopes saying Aries and Aries rising, because I knew everybody wanted to read their sun sign horoscope, but I want to tell you about your rising sign horoscope. And this is why. The rising sign sets up the entirety of the chart. So when you read or listen to anything about your rising sign, it's telling you exactly where in your chart, aka where in your life the astrology is landing, or how the astrology is going to be impacting you, how it's going to be landing in your life. It's very much more about location. When you read your sun sign, it is making your sun, or when you read or listen, when you take in any information about your sun sign in general, it just makes your sun your rising sign. That's the big secret. That's the big tell, which is fine. It's a way of doing astrology. If you don't know somebody's rising sign, you can just make the rising sign the same as the sun sign and look at the chart through the lens of the sun. But that doesn't mean that it is the same as knowing your rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, use your sun sign or your moon sign. I would most likely, if you know you're born in the day, I would go through your sun. If you know you're born at night, I would maybe make your moon your rising sign. But it's a way of seeing the entirety of the sky, the entirety of the chart through one planet or one luminary in this case, which is important. And it does give you good information, but it tells you about how that planetary setup is impacting one planet in your chart, not the entirety of your chart, which again does work for some people because it facilitates the chart through the lens of your sun, because you have to look at the whole sky. When you look at somebody's chart, you can't just look at one piece. And also, if the astrology isn't necessarily landing in a way that can exactly witness your sun, then it's kind of not a false read, but it's just not impacting that part of you. But if you're looking at your chart through your rising sign, it's more about the landscape than the character, right? The houses are the domains of life, and you can only understand that through the rising sign. Or I should say, one of the most accurate ways to understand the areas of your life is through the viewpoint of your rising sign, because that gives us the literal lay of the land. When you look at your whole chart, or when you read something about your sun sign, it's looking at you through one planet, one luminary in this case, which again, that's a very important placement in the chart, but it's not the landscape. It's like looking at everything through the eyes of a character instead of like panning out and looking at all the characters and the whole scene. So you're getting the perspective of that one part of you, but you're not getting the whole perspective of the lay of the land and your life. That's because the hour marker is the ascendant. It is the moment that you're born. We look at the eastern horizon and we say, oh, that part of the sky is coming up over the eastern horizon. That means that all of these parts of the sky are here and here and here and here and here and here and here. That means anytime anything's in Aries, it's going to be their 9th house. And anytime anything is in this sign, it's going to be in this house. And those houses have to do with these areas of life. So it's just always from an astrological perspective, going to give you a more specific read on the areas of your life that are impacted by the current astrology. Okay, let me know if that makes sense or if I can tease it out a little more for you. And you can always like read your sun and moon sign and see if they resonate more for you, because the astrology might be directly impacting that one planet, that one time that you read it. And so it might resonate for you more because it's like, oh, it really is impacting your sun or your moon or your whatever. And that's kind of like a hit and miss scenario. But your rising sign will always tell you what area of your life things are happening in, like without a doubt. But if you know, like you're a Pisces sun and there's a million things happening in Pisces, yeah, read your Pisces sun horoscope or listen to your Pisces sun reading. And you know how to do this in the Chani app, right? Like you know the hack. The hack is to just change your time of birth. If you want to listen to and read things about your sun sign only, which again, I would not recommend if you know your rising sign, but if you want to do that, because you're an adult and you get to live your life the way you want to, if you want to do that, just go to the settings in the app and just pick the time of sunrise. Just Google, or don't Google, use a DuckDuckGo or some other better search engine and be like, what was sunrise the day I was born? Put in your little birthday. And you'll get the time of sunrise and you just put that time in, and then the whole app will transfer to your sun sign being your rising sign. And then everything will be read through that. So you can always try it and see, especially if you know there's a lot of astrology happening in the sign that is your sun, and see if you like it. But again, highly recommend just sticking to your rising sign because it is so better at locating you in time and space. And then as always, if you have the Chani app, check the transit section of the app, because if something is happening to your sun or your moon, The transit section will tell you that anyways. Just go read your transits and you'll get that information there. And stick to your rising sign in the general readings in the Chani app, and you'll get the whole kind of lay of the land. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Listen, we are all in this Scorpio moon together, Scorpio full moon vibes together, Scorpio full moon moodiness together. Let's all wear black. Let's all wear a lot of eyeliner. Let's all blast angry music that helps us feel like a deep, cathartic sense of release. Let's all dance it out, move it out, scream into our pillow, it out. Do the things that help us to have that kind of sense of moving the emotional gunk and funk out. And then let's think about what it is, maybe who it is, but probably like what it is we're breaking up with by the end of the week to start something new, to have a breakthrough. And if you've not tried the breakthrough course, please give it a go. Let us know how you like it. Okay, come back next week because we're talking about Saturn moving signs. Oh my goodness, Saturn is moving into Aries for the first time in 27, 30 years, like many decades. It's a big deal. Neptune's already there. Now Saturn's going to move into Aries. Whew, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot of fighter energy. So we need to channel that. More on that next week. And the area of your chart that contains Aries is being so lit up. So please, again, listen to your rising sign horoscope because that'll tell you where Aries is in your chart. Not where Aries is in relationship to your sun, but where Aries is in your actual chart. So you know how to focus and how to tend to that part of your life. Bye for now.